A lot of this has been, how much are you worth, as an artist? What is an art, what is the dollar amount you assign to a mural, In Atlanta, it's worth one thing. In Birmingham, it's worth one thing. In Los Angeles, it's worth one thing. I mean, here, the value we assign to our art programs, even in the schools and even in, just the South in general, it's kind of, it's a little different than when you go to New York City. These big metropolises are a little different, but we go to places like Florence and we go to places like Huntsville, and it's, Birmingham is just kind of a little different. And it's not necessarily, quantities of things, but it's kind of how it feels, like there's an energy to it, I would say it is a group of like-minded individuals who are trying to bring about some sort of positive change in our community. I grew up and I wanted to be a fish doctor. I wanted to go to school and I wanted to, work and study tiny shrimp. And I thought that was the most fascinating thing in the entire world. And then my father goes, well, you're going to be working at SeaWorld and you're going to hate your life. And I said, oh my God, what if you're right? And so I decided I wanted to be an engineer, but at the same time, I hated engineering. I mean, it was the worst thing ever. It was like pain and suffering and, the hardest math you've ever seen. I mean, you find yourself in positions where you'd rather not be. You're working too long, you're working too hard, you're not, doing what you really want to do, and you're kind of like, why? I mean, is this lifestyle that I have, is it even valuable? Is it valuable to me? I don't know. And you start daydreaming, and you go, oh, I could be an artist. I mean, I didn't know I could be an artist.
I am one of the organizers, and I've been involved from the beginning. We heard that there was an organization in town that wanted to bring artists from other cities and other countries to come paint murals in Birmingham, and we looked at each other and we were like, screw that, we're going to do it ourselves. So that's how we started it.
The Yellowhammer guys, so they did these t-shirts because they really believed in Birmingham. And so Brandon said, well, what if we painted this somewhere? That would be wild. Okay, well, let's go paint it. And so we talked to somebody.
I think coming off of this summer, we had a good campaign. We had a couple big murals, and those were sign murals. And now we're getting into the art murals, and that's the next phase. So, that's a much harder, tougher game. And so we're currently embroiled with putting proposals together for 3 or 4 big mural projects that are, not based on slogans like the others have been. So it's kind of shifting focus, but we now have established our name, and so that definitely helps. I think the biggest struggle is that people still don't want to pay for art. They still somehow think that art is free. And, I don't go to a doctor and expect my doctor visit to be free, but for some reason, and I think this is one thing that's wrong with our country and our capitalist system, is that we don't value creative people like we should. We don't value teachers, there are a lot of things that seem really off balance and skewed, and being an artist and feeling devalued by, just by my choices in society is kind of tough to take. So convincing people that mural work is worth money, we're not asking for huge sums, but even to ask to get paid $10 an hour or $12 an hour is incredibly tough, because people just think that artists go out there and they just paint this stuff for free.
I would like to have more people doing more things, and you don't just need one group of people doing murals. You need several groups of individuals that are all kind of cohesively working together to kind of save the city. Like we're kind of in a battle right now, and you really, if you aren't fighting for something you believe in, you should be fighting.
Trying to craft a plan to paint a bunch of big murals in the city. There's a lot of abandoned and vacant properties, so there are a lot of canvases available, and we want to not only paint some of those walls ourselves, but we want to bring artists in from other parts of the country and other parts of the world to collaborate with us on some of those murals.
I think that they are literally blasting wavelengths of color back at human beings that walk on the streets, and I think that's really important because, you know, that everything kind of has a vibration and a tone, and everything kind of has this, you know, whether or not you're listening, there's a hum in the background. You know, there's always kind of something going, and there's always, you know, the streets are not silent. You know, so it is literally this kind of not necessarily a, you know, beacon of light, but it is, you know, this idea that is shining down upon people, and they see it. You know, thousands of people every day, you know, probably drive on Highway 31 and see that sign. You know, at least 2 or 3 people every day go and they take a picture, and they too say, "Ah, yes, it is nice to have you in Birmingham," and it's really cool because, you know, that message is their message, and the idea is spreading. So it's kind of beautiful in that way.
Well, I would say go out and start something. You know, go out and if you see a business with a wall that looks like, you know, it could use a mural, see if you can convince the business owner to let you paint their wall. And I'm kind of a veteran of the DIY movement with the crafts and art and music, and, you know, so I would say if you're a young artist, go out there and do it yourself, because nobody's going to do it for you.